Sepupus, Happy Racial Harmony Day! If you're from Malaysia and you're confused, well, yeah, it's a real thing. If you're from Singapore, you're welcome. Sepupus, every 21st of July, Singapore celebrates Racial Harmony Day and Malaysia does not. That's right, Sepupus, Singapore has a specific Racial Harmony Day. On the 21st, kids go to school wearing like saris, cheongsams, dhotis, baju Melayus. It's nice, it's wholesome. I only thought about this today because my sister sent me a picture of her kids decked out in one of the many Racial Harmony Day outfits for one of hundreds of celebrations that happen around the country. Now, why does Singapore celebrate this?
Interestingly, it's partly thanks to Malaysia.
The story is that on 21st July 1964, when Singapore was part of Malaysia, there was a huge racial riot, the worst, most prolonged in Singapore's history, that started from a Maulidur Rasul celebration at what is called the Padang, during which a bunch of people went out and made speeches, and a single glass bottle was thrown, hitting someone on the head, which resulted in Malay-Chinese conflict, intercommunal clashes. Net result, 23 people dead, hundreds of people injured. That wasn't all though, because it later on continued on with even more rioting in September. The police were activated, the armed forces were mobilized, tear gas was used, and island-wide curfew was imposed. And at some point, the Singaporeans said, never again. So then, about 30 years later, Singapore's MOE launches it as part of national education under Chok Tong. And now, today, doesn't matter whether you're in kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, or JC, people dress up in these colorful outfits, and lo and behold, Racial Harmony Day. I look at this and I notice that in Malaysia, we have nothing like that. And I can't help but ask, why? After all, Malaysia was so important in bringing it about. If you look at the dates of Pupus, like the 21st July 1964, that was during the merger period, during which Lee Kuan Yew basically said, look, we need to connect Malaya to Singapore because without the federation, Singapore loses its hinterland. We need to chase away the communists. And after some hemming, hawing, finally it happens on Lee Kuan Yew's 40th birthday, which is also the 16th of September 1963, which sounds great and everything, until you bring in Utusan Melayu. Depending on whether you believe the Malaysian government or you believe Lee Kuan Yew, what is clear is that at some point, Utusan Melayu started insulting Lee Kuan Yew. Foreign intervention was a thing. The Sukri Omar, I'm so concerned about the Malays in Singapore thing was going on and on. They were straight out fighting as this one guy named Syed Ja'afar Albar comes out, calls for a meeting of 12,000 people and calls Lee Kuan Yew an ikan sepat. And before you know it, people are going out on the streets, attacking people. Conflict, conflict, conflict. People die, and here we are today. You know, if Racial Harmony Day is to educate people about the importance of racial harmony, I'm pretty sure that Malaysia needs Racial Harmony Day way more than Singapore does. Malaysia needs a lot more education compared to Singapore. I mean, in Singapore, they literally, right after this happened, came up with Presidential Council on Minority Rights, EIP, Maintenance of Religious Harmony Act, and all of these other things that very explicitly made the point that racial harmony is something that you actually have to engineer in a society. You cannot just let it be, ignore how people interact with one another, and then somehow expect it all to be peachy, keen, wonderful, zip your mouth and it'll all be fine. Which is what Malaysia did and continues to do long after May 13, which if you don't know about, then watch this video. So yes, I know that I'm a Malaysian citizen, but the reason I'm making this video is that I think the way the Malaysian government deals with race and religion is BS. In Malaysia, as I hinted, we ignore problems, we sweep them under the carpet, we try to hide them because takut orang marah, and we somehow think that people are just going to automatically solve them and you can live happily ever after, no problem. Either that or the government straight up goes and says, oh, jangan sentuh 3R, and we have a sedition act and we can deal with dangerous speech when nobody in the country even knows clearly what the limits of 3R are, and the Malaysian government be all like, oh, but we have the Sedition Act, there's no need to talk about the 3R, ignore. Huh. I mean, my question is, how's that been going for you so far? Just go on social media, Sinar Harian or anything, and there you will see Malaysians using their high brain power to engage in ever more creative ways of insulting people of other races and other religions. Pajit, Type C, Quil Haram, insulting people left, right, front, and center almost every single day without end. So yeah, how's that for your effective plan? I think most of us kind of understand that the plan doesn't work because sweeping everything under the carpet and expecting there to be no problem is generally not how things work. If you think of racism and racist sentiments as dust that you can sweep under a carpet, you don't want to talk about it maybe because you're too busy trying to intervene and save Pakistan. Then at some point, your entire house is going to be filled with dust. With more dust coming in by the day, by the heap, every single time somebody gets angry, or we talk about socks and halal certificates and Christmas celebrations. Well, Sabubu, you might want to be careful with all that dust because if somebody lights a match, then it might all just blow up. And you know, at this point, as a Malaysian citizen, in probably the most racially tense internet situation I've ever seen in my entire life, I have to wonder, how long can we go on with this? How long can we have this sad excuse for a national conversation where a whole bunch of racist aggravators are going out fighting for their agama dan bangsa, insulting anybody who doesn't agree, gaslighting people so they can get votes, and splitting up Malaysia into at least 20 different Malaysias? Same bed, different dreams, go woke, go broke. Anyway, I have no idea, but to all of you Singaporeans out there, I think that you guys have a great thing going on there. I wish you a very happy Racial Harmony Day. I wish that was something that Malaysia celebrated as well. And sorry for all the problems that my government somehow did not think to actually resolve. Congrats on building an amazing foundation for the future, and I wish you the very best, and look forward to visiting you again. And who knows, maybe one day, I will join you in living in Singapore as well. Anyway, to all you Malaysians out there, it's true, we don't have a Racial Harmony Day, but maybe we should. Alright, that's all I have to say about that, and bye.